tell you the story of Peter Churchmouse. Once upon a time, there was a very small mouse named Peter Churchmouse, who lived in a very big church that belonged to Parson Pease Porridge, who was a very kind-hearted man, even though he was a little bit pompous. Now, Parson Pease Porridge had a wonderful pipe organ and a very fine collection basket lined with red felt, and a lot of handsome hymn books, and a big, beautifully bound Bible that always lay right in the middle of the desk in his study. Peter Churchmouse thought these things were very nice, especially the pipe organ, because it sounded so nice when he ran up and down its keys. But Parson Pease Porridge had two things that Peter Churchmouse thought were not at all nice. Parson Pease Porridge had very bad eyesight, and he had a terrible big wooden rat trap. He had such bad eyesight that he couldn't see Peter Churchmouse at all, so he never left anything out for Peter to eat. And poor Peter had to chew corners off the hymn books and chew holes in the red felt lining of the collection basket to make Parson Pease Porridge think there were some rats in his church, so that he would put cheese on the rat trap. That cheese was all Peter ever had to eat, and the rat trap made a frightful... Every night when Peter Churchmouse ate the cheese that Parson Pease Porridge put on it every day, Peter never got caught because he was so small and the rat trap was so big that when he sat on its trigger to eat the cheese, its terrible spring just went right over his head. Like that. But it almost scared the life out of him every time it happened. It was very hard on his nerves, and to soothe them, Peter would make a poem every night after he had eaten his cheese. One night when he had finished, he raised his eyebrows, the way he always did when he was going to make a poem, and then he jumped up onto the keys of Parson Pease Porridge's pipe organ, and this is the poem he sang. I dearly wish the cheese I ate were on a dish or on a plate that would not snap like the big rat trap, because I do not like it. Now, said Peter Churchmouse, I shall bite another big hole in the red felt lining of the collection basket, so that Parson Pease Porridge will put more cheese on the rat trap for tomorrow. Well, the next morning when Parson Pease Porridge came into the church, he looked at his best collection basket. I'll be twitched, he cried. These rats will be the ruination of me. How can I collect the collection with a hole in the collection basket? Why, the money will just fall right back into the congregation's pockets. I know what I'll do, he said. If my rat trap won't catch these rats, I'll get a cat. And now, quick, before he can do it, you put on the next record. The next day, Peter Churchmouse looked for cheese on the rat trap as usual, but there wasn't any cheese. There wasn't even a rat trap. And just as Peter began to wonder what he was going to eat, he heard... Like a flash, Peter jumped behind the pipe organ, just as Parson Pease Porridge came in, carrying a bowl of milk in one hand and a beautiful kitten in the other. Putting the kitten down beside the bowl of milk, Parson Pease Porridge said, Now those rats will see. And he was so pleased with himself that he sat down at the pipe organ and played. Then Parson Pease Porridge went into his study, where his beautifully bound Bible lay right in the middle of his desk. And Peter Churchmouse peeked out from behind the pipe organ at the kitten. Hello, he said. The kitten walked away from the bowl of milk and sat down and looked at Peter. I am afraid of cats, said Peter. Are you a cat? And the kitten said, Who, me? No, I'm not a cat. I'm a kitten, and my name is Gabriel. Say, are you a rat? Who, me? Said Peter. No, I'm only a poor church mouse, and my name is Peter. Hiya, Peter, said Gabriel. I'm glad you're not a rat, because I like you, and I'm supposed to scare the rats away, the rats that have been eating holes in things. Well, said Peter, I'm glad you're not a cat, because I like you, too. Say, would you like to hear me play a piece on Parson Pease Porridge's pipe organ? I should say I would, said Gabriel. What piece will you play? "Oh," said Peter, "I'll play the piece that Parson Peas Porridge played just now. Only I'll play it better." And he jumped to the keys of the pipe organ. That was better, Gabriel said. Only it didn't have any bass notes in it the way it did when Parson Peas Porridge played it. That, said Peter, is because the bass note keys are way down there. And he pointed down to the bass keys near the floor. Parson Peas Porridge plays them with his feet, said Peter. In that case, Gabriel said, I'll play the bass notes with my feet. And she walked over to the foot of the pipe organ. Now then, she said, let's go. Say, said Peter, we're good. Yes, said Gabriel, we must play together often. Then Peter said, listen, Gabriel, you're so nice, I don't like to deceive you since you're supposed to scare the rats away, but there aren't any rats. What? Said Gabriel. Then who eats holes in things? I do, said Peter. You don't, cried Gabriel. I do, Peter insisted. Once I even ate a hymn book. It tasted awful. Then why did you do it? Gabriel asked. I didn't want to, Peter replied. And just then it was time to put on the next record. If you didn't want to do it, said Gabriel, why did you? Because I was hungry, said Peter Churchmouse. How sad, Gabriel cried. Parson Peas Porridge gives me lots to eat. That, said Peter, is because you're a big kitten and he can see you, but he can't see me at all. Why, he thinks I'm rats. You said so yourself. You see, Gabriel, Peter said, all I ever got to eat was the cheese from the rat trap, and now that you're here, even that's gone. A rat trap, cried Gabriel. My, that sounds dangerous. Oh, said Peter, it was. I could even make a poem about it. I'd like to hear it, please, Gabriel said. So Peter jumped up onto the organ keys and raised his eyebrows the way he always did when he made a poem. I'll sing it to you, he said. And Gabriel said, oh, do. Snap, whack, whang, went the rat trap, bang, but I ate the cheese as safe as you please, 'cause the trap was too big with its whip, whap, wing, to catch little me in its rat trap spring. Why, Peter, Gabriel exclaimed, that's beautiful. I could listen and listen and listen. And since it's my fault, in a way, that you don't get cheese anymore, I must think of some way to let Parson Peas Porridge know you're here, so he'll give you lots to eat as he does me. And help yourself to my milk while I'm thinking. So Peter finished Gabriel's milk, and when he was done, he said, have you thought of anything? No, Gabriel said. It's stupid of me, but I haven't. Well, I think I have, said Peter. I've heard Parson Peas Porridge say that little children who drink lots of milk will grow up into big children. So maybe if I drink lots of milk, I'll grow so big Parson Peas Porridge will be able to see me. Good idea, said Gabriel. So Peter drank and drank and drank Gabriel's milk every day. But all Parson Peas Porridge said was, I'll be twitched. I never knew a kitten to drink so much milk. He didn't notice Peter Churchmouse at all. It's no use, said Gabriel at last. You haven't grown a bit, except, if you don't mind my saying so, your waist is nearly as round as the parson's ink bottle. We'll have to think of something else, she said. Let's play something, Peter suggested. I always think best when I'm playing Parson Peas Porridge's pipe organ. Good idea, said Gabriel. This time, let's improvise. Improvise? What's that? Peter asked. Why, said Gabriel, it means to make up the music while we're playing. All right, said Peter, and he jumped to the keyboard, and Gabriel ran to the foot pedals, and they started to play. Gabriel asked. "Have you thought of anything?" "Yes," said Peter, "I think I have. So let's change the record and find out what he'd thought of." Now, this was Peter Churchmouse's idea. If Parson Peasporridge saw my nice red knitted bed, he said, he'd know it was too small for rats to sleep in, so he'd know that a church mouse sleeps in it. He certainly ought to, Gabriel agreed. So Peter pulled his nice red knitted bed out from behind the organ where he always slept and put it on top of Parson Peasporridge's desk, right next to his big, beautifully bound Bible, where he'd be sure to see it. But when Parson Peasporridge came in and saw Peter's red knitted bed, he just said, "I'll be twitched. How in the world did my old red mitten get here? I've been hunting for it everywhere." And he stuck Peter's bed into his pocket and went out. "How very, very, very sad," said Gabriel. "The only bed I ever had," said Peter. And then he said, "Wait." And raising his eyebrows, he began to sing. "I had a very lovely bed. My very lovely bed was red. But now it's gone and I have none. I have no place to lay my head. How very, very, very sad. The only bed I ever had." "Beautiful," cried Gabriel. "So sad." Well, after that, Peter and Gabriel tried everything they could think of. Peter hid in the flowers on the parson's desk, and when the parson opened his Bible, Peter jumped from the flowers right to the middle of the page he was reading. But Parson Peasporridge only said, "I'll be twitched. I see a gray spot before my eyes. I must have my spectacles changed." And he closed the Bible with such a bang that Peter barely had time to save himself from being squashed between the pages. Then Peter made inky footprints on Parson Peasporridge's sermon. But all the parson said was, "I'll be twitched. I can't even read my own footnotes. I must go and get my new spectacles." And out he went, leaving his sermon on his desk. Peter Churchmouse was so disappointed that he bit a big hole right through the middle of Parson Peasporridge's sermon. "My," admired Gabriel, "the biggest hole I ever saw." "The biggest hole I ever bit," cried Peter. "If that won't make him notice me, I'm sure I don't know what will." Now, the next morning, it was Sunday, Parson Peasporridge came in with his new spectacles on and picked up his sermon. "Upon my soul," he cried, "these are not footnotes. These are footprints. I have a church mouse, and the poor little fellow has eaten all these holes in things to tell me he's hungry." And he went out and got the biggest piece of cheese Peter had ever seen. Then he looked at the big hole right through the middle of his sermon. "Huh," he said. "Owing to this slight accident, I must find a new sermon for today. So I shall speak about kindness to very little animals." Peter Churchmouse and Gabriel were so happy they jumped right to the keys of Parson Peasporridge's pipe organ. And that's the story of Peter Churchmouse.